So we're back at Roseanne's kitchen table. What are we doing here? Find out right here. There's an annotation. Go right there. So Jimmy was on my show with Ben Mankiewicz a couple weeks ago, and we talked a little bit about Ferguson and the protest, and you were going on some conspiracy theories, and the comment section went bananas. Now, YouTube comments, they tend to go bananas, but half the people really hated what you were saying, and half the people, you were their new Jesus. You were red pilling.
Yes.
That's what they said, which I guess is the takeoff of what
Matrix.
Neo's choice in the Matrix. Red pilling meaning you were going down the rabbit hole, you want to know the truth kind of thing. So I'm not as deep in the conspiracy theories, but I think we all have some conspiracy theories that we buy. I kind of buy something went down with JFK, something like that. But can you give me a little? Can you think? I mean, a little something. There's a little kind of. I've seen that movie many times, and yeah. But when you go down that road, what's the thought process when you're going down the conspiracy theory road?
So what
Because I know you like info, you like stats,
Yes.
and when we talk about news all the time, you like actual numbers that you can.
So what I was saying, I think the mistake people were making on that first clip we talked about, I was saying that I thought my theory was that the cops set some of those fires in Ferguson. I wasn't saying that I could prove it. I'm just saying that's my theory.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm willing to be I'm not. So that was just a theory.
Right.
I wasn't saying that is what happened.
Right, you're not saying you have evidence for it. You're just going down.
I'm saying that my gut feeling would be that the cops have proven themselves to be criminals at every step along the way. Why wouldn't they also try to discredit the protesters in this way? They released it at night. It's obviously they wanted to have some kind of a riot. They overreact left and right. They lie left and right. The prosecutor was whitewashing this from day one. He doesn't care that people can see right through him that he's transparently corrupt. So why wouldn't they do that? That was my question, really. Why wouldn't they do it?
So is this one of those things where people just won't believe it until there is the smoking gun? Or in this case, until there's video of a cop actually planting a bomb in a store?
It didn't even need to be a cop. I mean, like I said before, cops often have criminals do their dirty work for them, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I used to watch Beretta. Yeah. And so my bigger point was that half of those people who are going crazy on the YouTube comments, they're, white people who are naive, right? Or like when I talk about Michael Schur and Anna Kasperi and we talk about cops, they don't think like criminals. I saw Chris Hayes. I grew up around criminals, right? My dad was a cop. My grandpa was a cop. My oldest brother was a cop. 3 of my best friends were cops. And another half of my neighborhood were all criminals. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
So they don't understand that cops are also criminals, and then they don't think like that. Chris Hayes from MSNBC brought on the head of the police union in St. Louis, who was freaking out that some St. Louis Rams did this. And he couldn't nail him because every time he was dumbfounded that this criminal cop was going to act like a criminal, he thought he would act like a reasonable person. And it's like, because Chris Hayes lives in a little bubble and he doesn't realize those guys are criminals and he doesn't understand how to think like a criminal. I luckily am a criminal, so I know how to think like a criminal.
Right. So to me, with all the conspiracy theory stuff, it's like I can entertain it to a degree. Like when we had that conversation, that's basically what I was saying. I can entertain this stuff, and you showed me, you later sent me a video that made it look like a cop maybe did a little something. I can go there to a degree, but then there's another piece of me, and I think this is just human psychology, that it's like unless I have that proof, my brain, like you can only spend so much time going down that road. So I guess that sort of strengthens the anti-conspiracy theory.
Well, the thing that what's funny to me is that how people discredit the 9/11 people who don't buy the government story. I don't think anybody buys the government story, right? Do we? But the thing is, the stuff that we know about George Bush and Dick Cheney is way worse than what the 9/11 truthers are saying in the first place. So why would that be crazy? The stuff we know they started a war illegally, we know they ordered war crimes to cover it up, and now the torture report comes out and says that it was way more brutal than we ever knew. So the stuff that we know about them is worse than if they would have allowed 9/11 to happen in the first place.
And you know what, people? The whole point of this is for us to relax and have coffee and talk about things in a more decent way. And as you can see, Jimmy, who smokes a tremendous amount of pot.
I haven't smoked pot in a month.
He hasn't smoked pot. That's why he's all fired up. Anyway, what do you think? Is this guy completely bonkers when it comes to conspiracy theories? Do you follow along, or do you just let them be where they are? Let us know in the comments right down below.